Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to talk about 3 ways to use one softbox. I wanted to create a video that was approachable for everybody across the board. Pretty much all of you will be able to have access to one speed light or monolight or one softbox. So this is pretty much as simple as it gets. What we'll be changing here is the models and backdrops to create very different looks. But if you only have one model and one backdrop, that's fine. Just experiment with the placement of your light. Some of my favourite portraits which inspired me to take up photography were taken with one light. For example, this portrait taken by David Bailey or Jean Shrimpton is one of my all-time favourite images, and honestly one of the reasons why I started photography. It's so elegant and beautiful, and very simple to its core. Now, as we're still in lockdown in the UK, I'm going to use a piece of software called set.a.light 3D to show you how I'm lighting these images. I am affiliated with set.a.light, so if you do fancy purchasing the software, you'll find an affiliate link down below. There'll be no extra cost to you, and I'll get a small commission. It will help myself and this channel grow over time, so please consider that. They also offer a free trial if you fancy test driving the software. So here's the first setup I'm going to show you. It could be a business headshot or maybe even an actor's headshot. It's quite a versatile setup because it's very clean. Let's go ahead and take down this light a second and we'll put it back in place. So let's scroll over to the monolight tab. Find a medium-sized octabox. So let's go for this 120cm one. Going to drag it into our set, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the stand and set it up as if it's on a boom overhead. Then I'm going to crank up the power to full power, I think, and position it right overhead. So this light is directly over our head as a photographer. You can set this up on a C-stand, or you can shift it just to the side of your camera. You won't get that perfect catch light right in the center of the eye this way though. So I like to have it directly overhead. And as you can see, the catch light in the top of the eye is very, very close to center. Now, without this reflector, we're going to get a lot of shadow under the chin. So let's just remove it a minute now. As you can see, the shadows are far darker. I don't think it works so well for a shot like this. I always like to have a bit of fill. So let's go and put it back in just to fill in some of that light. There we go. Now we have more detail under the chin, and we're also filling in some of the shadows under the eyes. Let's go ahead and render out one of these shots. So here we have a pretty clean image. You could use this for all sorts of things. Corporate headshots, maybe actors headshots, all sorts really. It's a very versatile and flattering light. So now I'm going to show you a very different setup. We've got our model and light set up in a way where we're really utilizing shadow. Our model is facing directly into the light, and therefore the back of her head and the back of her body is falling into a lot more shadow. Let's go ahead and remove the light again and pull this reflector out of the way. Let's go ahead and grab our light again and place it right in front of the model. Then bring it up to roughly a 45-degree angle. And again, we're going to put the power way up. I think full power here. Now, I actually really like this black and white image as it is without any fill. However, depending on your preference, you might want to fill in a bit more of that shadow on the left-hand side. And we can very easily do this with a cheap pop-up reflector. So let's drag it into place, quite close to the body. And as you can see now, there's a lot more detail in the shadow area. It's nowhere near as dark. Let's do a comparison. So let's remove it for a minute, and you can really see that shadow now. Let's put it back in place. Let's go ahead and render this one out. And this looks really nice. It's, again, quite a flattering light and works for a more dramatic portrait. This is a really elegant setup and works really well for women. We could go ahead and change the model's pose. Let's go ahead and do that now. So let's go into the pose tab and we'll select the first pose here in the presets. And then we'll go ahead and rotate our model around. Let's go out of posing mode. And now you can really see what the light's doing here. There's a defined split of light down the face. We can make this even more prominent if we turn the model directly to camera. We could bring this reflector around to the front, rotate it around, to fill in some more of that light. Let's go about there. And now we have quite a nice, even and soft light. But because we're utilizing side lighting, there's a little bit more drama to the photo. Let's go ahead and take a snap of this. And again, this is a really nice portrait. It's very elegant and classical. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you one final setup. And this is much more of a fashion lighting setup. We're going for quite a dramatic image here with big shadows and a lot of contrast. Let's go ahead and remove our light again. And let's go into the monolight tab. I'm going to bring in the softbox once more. And let's bump up the power again. Let's go with around 8.5. That looks good. So we can keep the light fairly low down here if we want to illuminate her whole body. However, I always like my light to come from higher up. So 45 degrees is normally my sweet spot. Let's actually go ahead and bump the power up a little bit more now. There we go. We can bring it in closer. And now with this light at 45 degrees, we have a real split of contrast. The exposure is really nice on the face and on the clothes, getting darker towards the bottom of the legs here. But we've got almost complete shadow on the side of her body. And this is being brought out even more by this black polyboard here. If we drag it out of the way for a second, the shadows will lift up. I like to use polyboards all the time for this reason as negative fill. We can remove a lot of the unwanted light that we don't want. So I'm going to drag it back in place. I really like the amount of contrast we get with it in place. So let's go ahead and take a snap of that one. And there you have a very simple fashion lighting setup. We can go back into our setup, jump onto the camera. Let's raise it up a bit. And I'm going to zoom into 200 millimeters. There we go. And now we have a very different crop. Let's go ahead and take a photo. So let's flick to our first look, the full body image. It's so dramatically different from our cropped image. So let's just say you've got all sorts of different outfits to use in a fashion editorial. This is a super simple way of lighting your full editorial. Put your light in place, get it looking great, and then don't worry about it. Just focus on the model, on the hair, on the makeup, on the styling, on the posing, on the expressions. Don't let really complicated lighting get in the way of focusing on what's really important. I hope you found this breakdown helpful and that we proved sometimes one light is all you need. It really depends on how you place the light and what you're going for. Sometimes, honestly, you've only got time to set up one light. On some of the portrait shoots I do where you have a very limited time frame to get the shot, you simply don't have time to set up multiple lights. So knowing how to use one light in different ways is so valuable. If you found today's video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more of these kind of videos. Also, turn on those notification bells if you want to be notified of when I release a new video. Thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.